Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots from goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. It's Monday, April 7th, and it's time for Bucket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV, on X, as well as here on YouTube. I hope everyone's had a wonderful weekend. I hope you enjoyed watching Ovi break Wayne Gretzky's record. What a moment that was yesterday versus Sorokin and the New York Islanders when Ovi was able to get that goal on the board. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We've got a lot going on today. So glad you're watching all the way from Romania. That is really cool. Thanks for letting me know. But you guys, we're going to jump into the slate today. We got 5 games. We got a lot of teams really battling it out for that playoff position. So we're going to see what they're able to do out there. And we're going to start with the first one here with the Tampa Bay Lightning sitting second in the Atlantic. They want that first spot in the Atlantic. There's no reason that they can't take it, but they're going to have to get the win over a New York Rangers team that themselves are looking to get a wild card spot. So they're battling it out. You look at these teams and home ice has been a huge advantage. So if you like the New York Rangers, you're actually starting to get more value in this line. They're coming in as a plus 130 dog here at home. And now we have a total of 5.5. The juice to the over at minus 122 and the Tampa Bay Lightning a minus 156 favorite. Now, when we look at these teams, I do think we are seeing the Tampa Bay Lightning, the better team out there on the ice. This is going to come down to goaltending for me. So Andrei Vasilevskiy versus Igor Shesterkin should be your goaltending matchup. The last time we saw these teams out on the ice, we did see the Tampa Bay Lightning get that 6-2 win. In that 6-2 win, Igor Shesterkin was yanked out of the game. He allowed 5 goals, and that's not the worst thing. It's how many goals on how many shots. 5 goals on 13 shots on his net. He was yanked. They did put Jonathan Quick in. The game prior for Igor Shesterkin, he allowed 5 goals to the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. We know Tampa is strong on the power play. Their power play is converting at 24.8%. Kill coming in here at 81.9. I do think they're going to be able to score on Igor and the defense here of the New York Rangers. Now, when we look at Igor Shesterkin overall in his career, even though those last 5 games or last 2 games, he's given up 5 goals, he's still gone 6-2-1 in 9 games with a 2.32 goals against average and a 925 save percentage. So he does have solid numbers. My problem here is looking at what the power play has been doing for the New York Rangers. I know they have home ice advantage. I know this has been a strong suit, but the mix of the power play and how it's been converting, as well as Igor in goal, I think you got to find a way to bet Tampa. I don't like the money line. We know that. But you look at the power play in the last 19 games, they've only converted 3 times on 52 opportunities on that power play. That's just not good enough versus the Tampa Bay Lightning with Andrei Vasilevskiy in goal. Andrei Vasilevskiy versus the New York Rangers in his career going 6-2, 6-8 and 2, and with a 9-10 save percentage. So I do look for Andrei Vasilevskiy to come out nice and strong. Now, looking at the losses that these teams are coming off, a really embarrassing loss here for the New York Rangers. Their players even saying that it's so much embarrassment between Mika Zibanejad and Adam Fox, just watching those press releases of these guys. They hate how they lost to the Devils on Saturday. It was a 4-0 loss, national TV televised game out there. And it was just a brutal one. A lack of urgency and effort out of this team that is trying to get a wild card spot. They're 4th in the Metro, 79 points in 76 games. They're 6 points behind Montreal with a game in hand. I just don't think the New York Rangers will be able to steal that spot from the Montreal Canadiens, who are playing great hockey right now. So if Tampa goes up first in this one, I expect them to continue to hit in this game and for the Rangers basically to give up by the time the 3rd period comes. So it's pivotal for the New York Rangers to come out of the gate hot. And I do think we'll back, like my favorite bet, around the fact that both of these teams need to come out hot. The Tampa Bay Lightning, like I said, they would love to get that first spot in the Atlantic. They're sitting second in the Atlantic right now, 94 points in 76 games, 4 points behind the Leafs. So not out of reach, 2 points and a game in hand in front of Florida. So they don't want to lose the second spot with Florida coming and sneaking in there. Florida's got to be very careful because all talks are that they're tanking right now, and that they're tanking because they want Toronto in that first round. So who wouldn't want Toronto, though, you guys? You know that is the case, but I don't think Florida's tanking. They're dealing with injuries. So these games aren't as high of concern. Getting Toronto in the first round isn't a bad thing, but they have to watch that the Ottawa Senators don't take over their third spot in the Atlantic because they are not that far behind them. So I do think here with Florida right behind Tampa, we will see that big step out of Tampa, and they're off that loss in a shootout to the Buffalo Sabres on the weekend. That was a 3-2 loss. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that sense of urgency to come out of both of these teams to start. I do think between Vasilevskiy and Igor Shesterkin, we're going to see goals in that first period on both of them. I'm going to look at the over 1.5 in the first period for a half a unit, -126, and the both teams to score in the first period at +168. I do think this is an over 5.5 game. Like I said, the Rangers are going to be in that spot where they're making a huge push in the third. But if we do see Tampa pulling away, we know Tampa is good for 4 goals if a defense really lets down. And I do think at that point we will see maybe 2 out of the Rangers, 4 out of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So they should be able to cover this puck line. I'm not going to bet the puck line here, though, because of the home record we have seen between these two teams, with the home team winning 7 of the last 8 meetings and the Tampa Bay Lightning really struggling in Madison Square Garden. So what I'm going to do in this one, I'll just look at Tampa's team total over 3.5 goals. That's coming in at +128. Gotta love the plus money. And then if the Rangers end up pulling off a miracle 5-4 win, we're still going to get the over 3.5 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's the only way I think the Rangers can win this, is if they put 5 goals up, because I do expect 4 goals out of the Tampa Bay Lightning in this one. The only concern here for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and this is a major concern for me, is the Leafs are on deck on Wednesday, who are first in the Atlantic. Is this going to be a look ahead to that first spot in the Atlantic? I don't think they can get there. I think their mindset has to be get this win here tonight. So both teams to score in the first period in the over 1.5, both for a half a unit. The over 5.5 in this game is -120, and Tampa's team total over 3.5 at +128 will get you that plus money. Good morning to you guys. Yeah, we got to look at the team total for sure. So good morning to you, Blue. Let's get this freaking money. We're going to go with now the St. Louis Blues taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Game of the night, right? Like, you're looking at this game. The Winnipeg Jets at home have been just killer. Then we've got a St. Louis Blues team that is hot at the perfect time. Coming out of the 4 Nations break, I tell you, this team seems unstoppable out there on the ice, winning their last 12. Now, can they win 13? Well, I don't remember the last time we've seen the Blues at +140 on such a hot streak here, but we're getting the St. Louis Blues at +140. -170 for the Winnipeg Jets, which the books are showing their respect to Connor Hellebuck and the Winnipeg Jets at home on their own home ice with those numbers they have been able to put up. This one has a total of 5.5. It is way too freaking high, you guys. The over 5.5 coming in at +106. There's no way. The under 5.5, though, the problem is it's juiced. It's -130. I do think this is a 2-1 overtime game. I'm going to alt down this number. If you alt it to under 4.5 goals, which is risky, right? Because we risk that 2-1 game being tied up and going, instead of the overtime 2-1 game, we risk it being a 2-1 game being tied and then being 2-2 going to overtime, and then we get 5 goals. But if you're willing to risk this one staying under the 4.5, which I think it has every opportunity finishing 2-1 in overtime, the overtime bet's +320. I've hit on that, but I'm also going to hit on the under 4.5 at +215. If we don't get overtime, I really could see it finishing 2-1 in regulation as well for one of these teams. So looking at a side, I just can't get there. We've seen the Winnipeg Jets so strong at home in the first period versus the Central. I do think the Winnipeg Jets probably win that first period, and we see a lockdown, and we see that battle into the third for St. Louis to be able to tie it up to push it to OT. So if you want to bet here on the Winnipeg Jets, I'd look at first period Winnipeg Jets here on that money line to be able to get the win. But my problem with that is you're going to have to lay the juice, and this is going to be such a tight defensive battle that we could see the under 1.5, and we could see the 0-0 going into the second. The thing with the money line, if it is 0-0, at least we get the push on that. But 28, 6-4 on home ice for the Winnipeg Jets. It's a really hard team to step in front of. Now they're sitting first in the Central, 108 points in 77 games. When we talk about the President's Cup trophy, and I don't know, do you guys want the President's Cup trophy if you're rooting for your team to get it? We've got the Winnipeg Jets with 108 points, and then we look at the Washington Capitals, 107. So the Jets are 1 point behind, or 1 point ahead of the Washington Capitals. They both have played 77 games. I'm honest, I don't know if I want my team to win it. If I'm the Winnipeg Jets or the Washington Capitals, we got the Stars still in the mix too. Right there knocking on the doorstep for the President's Cup. I'm just not sure I would want it. So I do think we get the best out of Winnipeg, though. They are only 3 points ahead of the Dallas Stars. So not that much breathing room. We do see here the St. Louis Blues sitting fourth in the Central, first wildcard spot in the West with 93 points in 78 games. This team needs to control their own destiny because the Wild are only 2 points behind them. We know Calgary's trying to knock on that door for that second wildcard spot. I think it's too far out of range, you guys, with another win by the Minnesota Wild versus the Dallas Stars last night, and Calgary taking the loss in the last one to Vegas. So be it in overtime, they did pick up a point. But Calgary's going to have to play unbelievable tonight and continue to do so. And we're going to have to see the Wild lose their next couple for Calgary to be able to sneak in. But I still think with only 2 points behind for the Wild here, the Blues not 100% secure. So we're going to get the best out of them. The road team has won all 3 games this season. So if you do like the Blues, that's a strong advantage there for them with that plus money. I can't step in front of either of these teams with what we've been seeing out of them. So I'm going to take the overtime plus 320, and I'll take the alt number under 4.5 goals at plus 215. You can take the under 5.5. It's minus 130. Jake Neighbors has been strong. He's scored in the last couple of games. So if you do want to look at goal scorers again in a low scoring game, 2-1 overtime game, there's no way I'm taking any player props. But Jake Neighbors has scored in the last 2. We know Robert Thomas is so good out there. 21 goals, 54 assists, and 75 points. We're looking at Kyle Connor. He's loading for goal number 39. I do think he gets 39, 40, 41 by the time the season is done, probably 42. So 38 goals, 53 assists, and 91 points. I do think he hits at least 95 on the season before we go into the playoffs. So Kyle Connor really coming out nice and strong. Had a baby a couple of weeks ago as well. You always love to root for those players that just had their kids. They really do step up that next level, especially goaltenders. So always something to remember. Looking here, I do think just take the under, take the overtime bet between these two teams. Now, for the Winnipeg Jets to win, they have to make St. Louis play a dirty game. St. Louis can't take the penalties. If the St. Louis Blues take the penalties, we're going to see the Winnipeg Jets win this 4-1. That's just how it's going to come down, because you look at the Jets, you look at the power play conversion. That power play is almost clicking at 30% of the time at 29.3. The kill here for the St. Louis Blues just isn't good enough to contain those top line players on that power play. Their kill is 73.5%. And I tell you, you're going to see Morrissey and Connors just flying out there on the ice if they have that one-man advantage. So watch for that, you guys. Jordan Binnington hasn't had the best numbers. He's got a 3.09 goals against average versus the Jets in his career. That save percentage is still a 903, so pretty solid. He'll need the support of his defense here to make sure this is that lower scoring game that we need. Connor Hellebuyck allowed 3 goals on 31 shots in the last meeting between these two teams, but in the 3 meetings prior, he's allowed 2 goals only in each of those 3. So we've seen strong numbers out of Connor Hellebuyck. I do trust him to keep this one to the under. It's going to be Binnington that blows this one if it's going to the over, because he's allowed 3 or more goals in the last 6 meetings versus the Winnipeg Jets. So if you just want to play the Jets based on Binnington's record versus The Blues, I don't blame you. Again, I can't get there. He's coming off a game, Jordan Binnington, where he allowed 4 goals, even though they got the win versus Colorado. It was on 39 shots. So again, he needs more defensive support out here from his blue line. Before that, though, he had allowed only 1 goal in the last 4 games. So Jordan Binnington has been playing elite out there. Again, can't take the penalties, and the Blues can get things done. Okay, Holloway with the injury. I didn't see that, Hall. So Holloway not in this lineup. That is not good to see at all. You're betting the Blues to lose. I don't blame you. You look at the Winnipeg Jets, how good they are here at home, and it is phenomenal. Now, if you like the Winnipeg Jets, I'd look at them first period as well. Jordan Kyrou for the point. Yeah, Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas, you can parlay Morrissey and Kyrou for a point. Yeah, Josh Morrissey over there for the Winnipeg Jets should be able to get it. And I do like combining 2 players, 1 from each team, whoever you like most. I don't see the shutout, but I do see 2-1 style win. Okay. The Edmonton Oilers versus the Anaheim Ducks. Can we just fade the Oilers until Leon or Connor is back out there on the ice? We've got a backup of a backup coming out. Stuart Skinner, we know, was injured for the Edmonton Oilers. And now with the backup to Calvin Pickett coming in, he's had limited time out there on the ice, 875 a save percentage. The majority of his games he has faced Seattle. So I don't think it's going to be pretty here versus the Anaheim Ducks, who really have been coming out nice and strong. They're looking to play spoiler Battle of the Pacific, and they're looking to give Edmonton a loss. And I don't blame them. They won the last matchup back on March 4th. And I believe Connor and Leon were in that game. Definitely double check that. But that was a 6-2 win back on March 4th by the Anaheim Ducks over the Oilers here. So it's weird to say the Ducks over the Oilers, right? But they have proven they can beat this team. They've been okay at home. They're 19-17-2, so they are above 500 at home. I know Edmonton's a better team, but with all of their injuries and without Connor and Leon still in this lineup, I do think unless those secondary players step up, which we haven't seen, we've seen Edmonton coming off the loss to the Kings. Now, this is a problem with Edmonton. So they're off the loss to the Kings. They lost that one 3-0, getting shut out on the road. It should be a bounce back. But you look at their schedule and who is in front of them. They're the St. Louis Blues on Wednesday. So while they should be able to beat the Ducks, off a game versus the Kings where they got shut out, with the Blues on deck on Wednesday. And then they have the Sharks on Friday. So, okay, but then they have the Jets on Sunday, the Kings on Monday, and then the Sharks next Wednesday. I don't love the scheduling spot here for Edmonton without their top playmakers out there on the ice. But I don't love the value we're getting because it's not as much as I would want to back the Anaheim Ducks because you do still have the depth here for Edmonton with Evan Bouchard. His ability to get those goals, offensive defenseman out there. Yeah, he's only got 13 on the season, but we're getting him at almost 4-1 to our money at plus 400 for the anytime goal. And he's got 13 goals, 49 assists, and 62 points on the season. Evan Bouchard has to step up here if Edmonton has any ability to get this win. I also think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins needs to step up. He's loading for point number 50 tonight, 20 goals and 29 assists. And Zach Hyman loading for point number 45, 27 goals and 17 assists. So looking at some of these playmakers, I do think Edmonton will get a couple goals on the board. But I'm looking for the Anaheim Ducks to be able to answer back. Eliminated teams that are playing freely are dangerous out there. It doesn't matter. Win or lose to the Anaheim Ducks. They've lost their last 2. They lost to the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday, 4-2. They're versus Calgary on Wednesday, at the Kings on Thursday, versus the Avs on Sunday, at the Wild on Tuesday, and at the Jets on next Wednesday. So they've only got like this and a couple more games at home. I'm looking for Troy Terry and McTavish to really step up. I think you go with this one. The first period over 1.5 goals. Edmonton's going to be begging to get on that scoreboard. We got a backup of a backup goaltender in for the Oilers. I'll take the first period over 1.5. The problem is the books have made it so juiced that I don't love the price. It's minus 148. So give me both teams to score. Both teams to score in the first period coming in at plus 144. Now, Troy Terry got his goal number 20. And if you guys jumped on, and I really hope you did, that Vancouver and Ducks game on Saturday, I gave you guys that same game parlay. It was almost 10-1. It was 996 or 968 for that 5-leg parlay. We cashed it beautifully, and 3 legs cashed in the first period. So I really hope you guys were able to jump on that. We had Troy Terry and McTavish for their points. We also had Quinn Hughes and Brock Nelson Brock Nelson. No, we had someone else for their points. Brock Nelson is with the Avs. We had 4 players for their points and then Vancouver to win. So we were able to come in and get that done. So looking at today, if I was looking at the Ducks and who I would look at, Troy Terry again for his points on the board, McTavish for his points, and then Leo Carlsson. Leo Carlsson, I do think, has the ability to get us the goal today. It's coming in at plus 300, 20 goals and 20 assists, so 40 points on the season. And he scored at least 1 goal in the last 4 games here for the Anaheim Ducks at home. And I think on a backup of a backup, we're going to see Leo Carlsson just come out strong again. Now, I tried to play around with the Ducks team total. The books want too much, over 2.5 goals coming in at minus 148. I do think this is a 4-3 style win here for either of these teams because we need to see the Edmonton Oilers step up, try to get that offense going. I know their defense has been locking down, but I don't trust them with the goaltending, and I think they'll have to answer back. So 4-3 style game. I would look at the players. I'd look at this over, but I like the first period best for both teams to score. So, and then Leo Carlsson for goal number, it would be 21 for the goal tonight, plus 300. I think McTavish gets 0.50. So it's going to be a good game out there. Oh, yeah. We're taking the Blues and the Winnipeg Jets to OT. I absolutely love it. And thank you. Let's make some freaking money, Kelly. Seeing your comments. I really appreciate you being here each and every day. Let's do this, you guys. Back-to-back shows. It's good to see you guys. I love seeing you guys in here each and every day. So thank you so much. Let's talk about my Calgary Flames. My Calgary Flames trying to keep any bias out of this one, but taking on the San Jose Sharks. And as soon as I look at this matchup, who do I want to take here for the Sharks to get a goal? It's Tyler Toffoli versus his former team. The love Calgary fans had for Toffoli when he was here, and then he goes off to the San Jose Sharks. And we look at those players versus their former teams, and while Toffoli's played on a million different teams, I do think he'll come out nice and strong and be able to get a goal today. That's plus 180. That was the first player prop I looked at in this one. Could we see him get 2 points? Calgary coming in here off that game versus Vegas. Their defense has been playing better. They had to fight their way to get back into that game. I'm looking at Calgary to come out strong again. Little bit of bias because I do think Calgary has the possibility, if the Wild fall flat, to make that wild card spot. I think it's getting too far out of reach, though. If they lose this game tonight, it just will be done. But I look at Calgary to come out, be able to net those goals on Georgiev. We know we can't trust Georgiev between the pipes. Dustin Wolf on the other side here for Calgary, though, has been better at home than he has been out on the road. So I do think the Sharks will get a couple. Again, we got an eliminated team within the division fighting against a team that is trying to make that wild card spot. The Sharks want to play spoiler. They're not in the playoffs, and why should Calgary be in the playoffs either? That's kind of like the mindset. They're not like, okay, you're in the Pacific, let's try to get you to the playoffs. There is no way that these players are thinking that. So looking at the Sharks, they've lost their last 5 games. 3-6-1 in their last 10. They lost that last game to the Seattle Kraken. They allowed the Seattle Kraken, who can hardly put up those goals. And the Kraken have put up 2 games with 5 goals in those last 2. But prior to that, this team can't score. And I do think if they allowed 5 to the Kraken, they can allow Calgary to get 4. Calgary's team total sitting at 3.5. It's minus 102 to the over. We know Nazem Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau have really been lighting the lamp, especially out there on the road, which Kadri kind of like turned around on the season. We got Mackenzie Weegar. We've got so many playmakers over here for the Calgary Flames that I do think they should be able to get those 4 goals on the board. So my best bet would be Calgary's team total over 3.5 goals at minus 102. I'll look at Kadri for a goal. He's coming in at plus 140, so not as much plus money as I would like, but I still think it comes into play. He scored at least 1 goal in 6 of the last 7 when the Calgary Flames have been the favorite. So rolling in here as the favorite, I'm going to look at Huberdeau for a goal tonight at plus 210, but what I like better is 2+ points. Jonathan Huberdeau for 2+ points coming in at plus 350. That will put him at 60 points on the season. He has 58 points rolling into this game. 27 goals and 31 assists. So I think Jonathan Huberdeau has every ability against Georgiev in the defense here of the Sharks to be able to get 2 points tonight. So probably my favorite player prop of all for Calgary is Huberdeau for 2+ points at +350. Love the plus money. Love his ability to get things done. But if you just want to do a safer way to go, Kadri and Huberdeau, we're still getting plus money when we parlay them together for a point. Kadri and Huberdeau for a point coming in at +120. I do think Toffoli on the other side, like I said, could get a goal versus his former team. So Toffoli for the goal at +180, but don't count out Celebrini to make some waves in this game as well. Toffoli and Celebrini for a point, again, will get you great plus money. So it is a good day to back Calgary. I really do feel you guys are 6 points behind the Minnesota Wild, but 2 games in hand. And that's something you got to remember. They got 2 games in hand. They still have a fighting chance. And this is a team that is playing like they have a fighting chance. I didn't think they would be in a position here where they would be fighting for a wild card spot on the season. So I think they're in a great position here to be able to take it, especially with the Wild. Now, if the Wild get Kaprizov back, that's a whole different story. And I do think Calgary will be done, but Calgary still has a fighting chance. So let's jump into the next game for sure. You guys are so awesome. I'm seeing your comments right now. Just makes my heart feel full. Thank you so much, you guys. It's great to be here every morning. Let's move on to the Seattle Kraken. They're taking on the LA Kings, and this is such an important game for the Kings. The Kings have not checked out, sitting second in the Pacific behind Vegas with Edmonton behind them. I do think we get the best out of the Kings. Now we're seeing the Seattle Kraken, like I mentioned, they've been able to put up the goals in their last couple of games, 5 goals in both of their last games. I don't see it continuing here against the LA Kings at home. I tried to look at a situation where the Kraken could beat the Kings, and I just can't find any way to back the Kraken in this one. We've got the LA Kings off that great win, though, versus the Edmonton Oilers, so maybe this is a little bit of a sandwich spot. When we look at the LA Kings, they beat the Oilers 3-0, shut them out. But then you look here, they've got the Ducks on Thursday, so it's not like anyone like important is ahead of them. And then the concern comes because after the Ducks, they have the Avs on Saturday, the Oilers on Monday, and then the Kraken to end the season. So could we see the letdown in the next game versus the Ducks? Yeah, absolutely. That's more where I would see that letdown. I think the momentum after beating the Oilers 3-0, and could we see Seattle come out and score quick? We could, but I still think the Kraken, even if they score quick in this game, stay under their team total of 2.5. I just can't see it. The problem is the books have it so highly juicy, under 2.5 goals coming in at -154. So it's not bettable for me. They put up only 2 goals in their couple prior, and that was versus the Stars that have a strong defense, just like the Kings. So I expect 1 goal. Do I want to bet the under 1.5? Yeah, I probably would. If you can get an outline for the Seattle Kraken under 1.5 goals tonight, I really can see it playing out that way. Now you got to be cautious because the last time they did play, the Seattle Kraken did win it 4-2. First night of a back-to-back here for the Kraken with Utah on deck tomorrow at Vegas on Thursday. And again, they beat the Sharks 5-1. I'm going to look here at the Kings to win this in reg. I think the reg bet and the puck line makes sense, right? This is how it should play out. -1.5 at +112 on that puck line. But when I can get a regulation bet at like that -140 mark, I do think Seattle or the Kings could win this 2-1, like in that low scoring game where they get up, they lock down, they play defensive hockey, and they call it a day. One thing I do like is the Kings in the first period. I just don't see the Kraken. Like even if they score quick in that first, then I think the Kings answer back with 2 goals, and that could be the game for us. So I'm hoping Seattle doesn't score right away. But the Kings on the puck line in the first period, laying a half a goal at +126. I just can't see them not dominating this game, especially where they're sitting. So I talked about their position in the Pacific, second in the Pacific with 97 points in 76 games. 4 points ahead of the Edmonton Oilers, 5 behind Vegas, but a game in hand. They're sitting in a great position here to be able to hold nicely onto the second spot, especially with how Edmonton's playing. But I do think they need to pick up the points here to just be cautious with what we've seen. And 7th in the Pacific here for the Kraken. Their season is done. So when we look at goal scorers, I would count on Kempe here for the goal at plus 150 for the LA Kings. You guys know I like Kempe and Kopitar parlay together for their points. Kuzmenko is interesting for his points tonight as well. But Kempe has scored the first goal in each of the Kings' last 2 home games against the Kraken. So we have seen Kempe be able to come out nice and strong. I wouldn't take him for the first goal, but I would look at him for the goal at plus 150. 33 goals and 31 assists. For the LA Kings, Kempe has on the season. On the other side, Jared McCann has been playing solid out there for the Kraken. Again, I can't bet anything for the Kraken, but he has 20 goals and 38 assists. So sitting here with 58 points, I think Jared McCann on the season will get to 60. I'm just hoping no points come in for him tonight. Okay. It's time to do the recap, you guys. To win the cup, Rob, it's really hard to say who's going to win the cup at this point. We got to see where everyone finishes with those matchups. Once we see where everyone finishes with those matchups, where everyone's sitting in the Pacific, in the Metro, in the Atlantic, that kind of thing, then we can look at who can take the cup. Now, when we look at the odds right now to take the cup, we'll just get into this before we do the recap. The Dallas Stars are the favorite to take the cup, and I understand why. You look at their defense, you look at their goaltending, you look at the addition of Mikko Rantanen, and this team has every ability to come out so strong. The weakness, though, seems to be Jake Ottinger right now. I just don't know if we can trust him as much as I had hoped we could trust Jake Ottinger. So Florida, right now, they're not playing up to expectations, but Florida still is plus 600 to take the cup. You got to look at Florida. Matthew Tkachuk should be getting back. Barkov is out injured right now. People saying this team tanking so that they get the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. They have the goaltending, they have the defense, and they have the offense as well. Vegas, I'm not sure about, you guys. At plus 750, I don't think Vegas is a good bet. And I can't trust the Carolina Hurricanes either because of their inconsistencies this season on the road. I think Colorado has a better chance of taking it than Vegas and the Carolina Hurricanes. You look at the Colorado Avalanche. You look at that speed out there offensively with Nathan McKinnon and the addition of Brock Nelson and Natchez. This team is so fast out there on the ice. Their ability to move that puck in transition and get those breakaways on goaltending is second to none in the whole league. I really do feel. You've got then the Edmonton Oilers at plus 1,000. I don't trust Edmonton because of the goaltending situation. And if you don't have strong goaltending, I can't take you to take the cup. It's interesting because Edmonton's plus 1,000, but you have the two teams that are battling it out for the President's Cup with the Washington Capitals and the Winnipeg Jets, both sitting at plus 1,100. Now, the Washington Capitals with Ovi, you got to wonder if this team will run out of steam here as we go into the playoffs. Definitely an older team, but that older experience is there. They have the goaltending as well. And then the Winnipeg Jets, everyone wonders how they're going to do once they get to the playoffs, because we know it has been like the Toronto Maple Leafs. Once they get to the playoffs, this team just doesn't show up. This team is different than any Winnipeg Jets team that I can ever remember watching, with how their one goaltending, but how this power play is working out there on the ice and how these guys are clicking together. I love their 5-5 numbers as well as those power plays. So I do think the Winnipeg Jets, at plus 1,100, as well as the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't know why Tampa is sitting so far down here. I think they should be better. And the Jets and the Lightning, they should be like plus 850, like we're seeing the Carolina Hurricanes. So kind of shocking to see those teams like hovering around there. Toronto Maple Leafs, no one believes in them. They're at plus 1,500, and I want to take the Leafs to be able to hoist a cup. Canada's best chance, I do think, of hoisting a cup this year would be the Winnipeg Jets. I don't think it's Edmonton. So Winnipeg at plus 1,100, best odds for Canada. I think the Caps still hold value at plus 1,100 because this team has been playing great with Ovi. What a way for Ovi to go out if he broke the record. I think he gets to 900 goals this season. And then if we could see Ovi hoist the cup, I would retire if I was Ovechkin. But I do think for your long shot there, the Colorado Avalanche, a nice long shot at plus 900 as well. Okay. You guys, let's get into that recap. Yeah, Mo, coverage of the Masters for sure. Check out everything on SportsGrid for your coverage of the Masters. Cam Stewart and Brady Cannon, so strong at giving out those picks on the Masters. Now, I will be live on the Saturday and Sunday on In-Game Live, and we'll be jumping in, especially on the Saturday, in some of those live bets in the Masters. But going into this, how do we not like Scotty Scheffler to be able to come out and get another green jacket? So lots of things we'll be going over on the grid. So make sure you do join me over there. Recap time, you guys, and then I'll send you on your way. It's a beautiful Monday. I hope you guys enjoy it out there. So time for the recap. The Tampa Bay Lightning versus the New York Rangers. The Tampa Bay Lightning have really struggled in New York. Home ice has been a huge advantage. So I'm terrified, absolutely terrified to take Tampa straight up, even though I think they're the better team. I'm going to take their team total over 3.5 goals at plus 128. The last time they faced Igor Shesterkin, they lit him up. They've lit him up. They got 5 goals on 13 shots. He got yanked from that game. I do think they can come out and put up the goals. I can't see them not scoring in this one. The power play has also really been struggling out there for the Rangers. I'm going to look at both teams to score in the first period. The over 1.5 coming in the first period at minus 126 for half a unit. Both teams to score at plus 168. I do think the over 5.5 is in play. Look for Mika Zibanejad and Adam Fox to come out so strong for the Rangers today. I'd look at them for their points. Both of these guys in press conferences were really disappointed in how they played versus the Devils in that shutout loss. On the Lightning side, it's Nikita Kucherov. He has 112 points on the season. Brandon Hagel for goal number 35. I love here, you guys. He's got 82 points on the season. Braden Point for goal number 40. He's got 39 goals. And then Jake Gunsel has been playing strong. So those would be your playmakers. Again, players looking to hit milestones. Nikita Kucherov, if Igor plays like he did, we could see Nikita Kucherov get goal number 34 and 35 tonight. So I do think that is in play. Brandon Hagel, though, for goal number 35 and Braden Point for goal number 40. The St. Louis Blues versus the Winnipeg Jets. Give me overtime. I love it. Plus 320 to go to overtime. I do think the under 5.5 is in play. It's so juicy at minus 130 that I would prefer to ult it down to under 4.5 goals at plus 215. 2-1 win for either of these teams. No player props for me, but Jake Neighbors has been your goal scorer as of late, scoring at least 1 goal in the Blues last 2, and then Robert Thomas, and then Kyle Connor on the other side for the Winnipeg Jets. The Edmonton Oilers and the Anaheim Ducks. Give me a hot start in the first period, a backup of a backup in net for Edmonton. The Ducks have every ability to look to get this win today. Just not enough value on that money line for me. I'll take the first period over 1.5, but it's too juiced. So both teams to score at plus 144. I'll take Leo Carlsson for a goal today for the Anaheim Ducks. That's coming in at plus 300. He's been able to score at least 1 goal in 3 of the last 4 at home for the Ducks. I do think McTavish for point number 70 is in play as well. Looking at the Edmonton Oilers, Evan Bouchard, I'm going to take a chance. 4-1 to your money for the anytime goal. He needs to step up. Only 13 goals on the season, but we know no Connor McDavid, no Leon Draisaitl. If all of a sudden one of these players is listed today, look for the 2 points out of Connor McDavid if he's listed. Leon Draisaitl, look for him for the goal if he ends up playing in this one. Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins need to step up as well. The Calgary Flames versus the San Jose Sharks. Give me Calgary's team total over 3.5 goals at minus 102. I'm then going to look at player props. Favorite player prop of this game, Jonathan Huberdeau, 2+ points coming in at plus 350. I think he hits 60 points tonight. You could also look at the goal. It's coming in at plus 210. I think it's goal and an assist. You look at Kadri here for the goal at plus 140. He's got 31 goals, so that would put him at 32. And then Tyler Toffoli on the other side. Toffoli at plus 180 for the goal tonight. He is looking for goal number 29 and 30. So I do think he hits 30 goals on the season. He needs to get a goal tonight here on Calgary. And then Celebrini coming out nice and strong. And remember, Toffoli did play against the play for the Calgary Flames. The Seattle Kraken versus the LA Kings. You guys, Joey Decord versus Darcy Kemper. I don't trust the Seattle Kraken to score. Team total 2.5 is juiced out -154. I can see them staying under 1.5. I think most you get out of the Seattle Kraken in this really, it's a win that the Kings need. I don't care where they're sitting second in the Pacific. I still think Edmonton's too close and Vegas is still in reach. So give me the LA Kings to get the win. LA Kings in the first period on the puck line laying a half a goal, I think is your best way to go with any puck line bet. And then the Kings and Reg right around that -140 mark. I would look at Kempe for the goal because Kempe's been so strong versus the Kraken in his career. And Kempe, he's always one of our playmakers. So Kempe, but then Kopitar and Kuzmenko as well for their points. So that is the game. Yeah, and the Kings to the under, right? The Kings have to win this to the under for sure. So you guys, I appreciate each and every single one of you for being here on the daily. Let's make some freaking money. Let's stay hot out there on the ice. We had some great days out there over this weekend. I couldn't believe all those upsets we were able to get Saturday night. It was fantastic to watch those games. But you guys, let's make some freaking money. Let me know if you think the Blues are winning another game versus the Winnipeg Jets. That one is so going to be a coin flip. Whichever team's goaltender comes out stronger. Again, Connor Hellebuck at home has such better numbers than Jordan Binnington has had versus the Winnipeg Jets. So if you're willing to take a chance on the Jets, you're going to have to lay that wood on them, but it kind of makes sense, you guys. I want to see a competitive one. I want to see it go to overtime. But you guys, all the best in all of your bets. I'll see you back here tomorrow, noon Eastern, for another Pocket with Joe. Kevin, you know that I absolutely love that bet. 2-1 bet. I would bet 2-1 for the Blues, 2-1 for the Winnipeg Jets. Let's get both sides of that just in case. And yeah, Kelly, the Jets they've been playing so strong versus the Blues. It comes down to Jordan Binnington. Jordan Binnington does not have solid numbers versus the Winnipeg Jets. So if Jordan Binnington does not come out completely concentrated and ready for this team, then he is going to fall. Favorite two players for the points, it's got to be Jonathan Huberdeau here for the Calgary Flames for his points tonight. I do think he gets 2+ points. And then you got to be really cautious with these 2+ points tonight. I do think the other game you would look at those power play points, especially here for the Tampa Lightning. Nikita Kucherov for 2+ points. Let's go there. He's got 79 assists and 33 goals on the season. Give me Nikita Kucherov for 2+ points and Jonathan Huberdeau for 2+ points. Yeah, let's do both sides. Let's take the St. Louis Blues 2-1 win and the Winnipeg Jets 2-1 win. We're going to get one of them. Blue, it was good to see you here. And Kempe, yeah, Kelly, Kempe, how can you deny Kempe for 2+ points? I do think he should be able to get it as well. So you guys, all the best. Let's make some freaking money. I'll see you back here tomorrow.